Did Ava honestly think she could back Sonny into a corner, use Avery as a pawn, and walk away completely unscathed? Are we really supposed to believe that after all these years, after all the bloodshed and shattered trust, she still hasn't learned that crossing a mob boss with his back against the wall is a one-way ticket to the grave? It absolutely baffles me that a woman with her survival instincts would willingly ignite a war she cannot possibly survive. Has she completely lost her grip on reality, or is this the most calculated move of her entire life? If you ask me, we are standing on the precipice of a monumental shift in Port Charles. We are looking at a dangerously deadlocked chessboard where the pieces are about to be swept off entirely. The stakes have never been higher, and it looks like the riders are preparing to thin the herd in the most ruthless ways imaginable. If you ask me, looking at the current landscape of our beloved show, we are witnessing a masterclass in psychological warfare. The board is set, the players are trapped in a dangerous stalemate, and it feels like a massive storm is about to hit. I have been analyzing the recent subtle clues, the lingering glances, and the unspoken tensions, and I firmly believe we are about to say some permanent, heartbreaking goodbyes to several major players. This isn't just about people leaving town for a vacation. This is about unforeseen fallout that will alter the fabric of the show forever. Let us break down the evidence, piece by piece, because the psychological motive behind these potential exits is absolutely fascinating. First, let us talk about Maxie. For weeks now, the narrative has been quietly shifting her focus away from the daily chaos of her usual life. Maxie has chosen to settle down in Australia, and if you read between the lines, it looks like she has absolutely no intention of returning anytime soon. You have to wonder about the psychological motive here. Maxie has endured so much trauma, so much heartbreak, and so much instability over the years. This implies that her decision to stay in Australia is not just a temporary getaway, but a calculated move to finally break the cycle of pain. She is choosing peace over drama, prioritizing a stable environment over the constant danger that seems to follow her family. Let us split this into two possibilities for Maxie. In scenario A, Maxie's transition to Australia is a permanent, peaceful write-off. The writers are giving her the rare, elusive, happy ending that so few characters ever achieve. She gets to raise her children away from the mob violence and the corporate backstabbing. However, in scenario B, could it be that this Australian exile is actually a setup for a massive, off-screen tragedy? We all know that true happiness is fleeting in this genre. Perhaps Maxie is being kept off-screen so that a future storyline can bring her back under dire, heartbreaking circumstances. But for now, if you ask me, the door is closing on Maxie's current chapter, and we must prepare to navigate the show without her vibrant energy. Now, let us move on to a situation that truly makes my heart ache. Kai and Trina. Ladies, if you have been watching Trina's journey as closely as I have, you know that this poor girl carries a devastating curse when it comes to love. Every time Trina opens her heart, tragedy strikes. Now, Trina is allegedly being targeted by a mysterious, dangerous threat, and Kai is standing right in the crosshairs. Kai is fiercely protective, and there is no way he is going to sit back and let Trina be hunted. But this protective instinct might be his ultimate undoing. Let us examine scenario A for Kai. In this version of events, Kai steps up to be the ultimate hero. He puts himself between Trina and whoever's coming after her, taking the hit to save the woman he loves. This would be a tragic, gut-wrenching sacrifice that ends in his death. The unforeseen fallout from this would absolutely destroy Trina, plunging her back into a dark abyss of grief and solidifying the terrible curse that seems to doom any man who loves her. It would be a phenomenal, tear-jerking performance, but a devastating loss for the fans. On the other hand, we have scenario B. Could it be that Kai realizes the only way to truly protect Trina is to eliminate the threat from the shadows? In this scenario, Kai might fake his own death. This would be a brilliant, calculated move to take himself off the board publicly, allowing him to hunt Trina's enemies without putting a target on her back. It implies that Kai is willing to let Trina mourn him if it means keeping her breathing. While I want to believe in a happy ending for these two young lovers, my analytical mind tells me that Kai's days walking freely in the sunlight with Trina are severely numbered. Next, we absolutely must dissect the explosive situation involving Nina, Drew, and Jack. We all know that Nina is driven by pure, unadulterated emotion. When she feels cornered, she lashes out, often with catastrophic results. The recent clues suggest that Nina's desperation reaches a boiling point, culminating in her pushing Drew into the water. Drew is already in a vulnerable state, and this impulsive act of violence is going to have massive, inescapable legal consequences. Nina cannot simply smile her way out of attempted murder. The walls are closing in, and her shattered trust in the system means she will not wait around to be handcuffed. This brings us to Jack. Jack is a man of immense power, resources, and secrets. He's the only person capable of making Nina disappear completely. In scenario A, Jack orchestrates a flawless escape for Nina, smuggling her out of the country to save her from a lengthy prison sentence. This would frame their dynamic as a twisted, dark romance, where Jack proves his devotion by sacrificing his own leverage to give Nina her freedom. It looks like the perfect getaway, allowing Nina to exit the canvas while keeping the door slightly cracked for a future return. But let us look at scenario B, which is far more sinister. Could it be that Jack has an ulterior motive? Jack is a master manipulator. By helping Nina flee, he isn't just saving her, he is isolating her. He becomes her only lifeline, completely dependent on him for her survival, her finances, and her freedom. This implies that Nina isn't escaping to freedom at all. She is walking right into a beautifully gilded cage designed by Jack. Either way, Nina's time as a free woman in town seems to be coming to an abrupt and dramatic end, and I fully expect her to vanish into the night. Finally, we arrive at the most volatile, dangerous dynamic on the entire show, Ava and Sonny. The custody battle over Avery has always been a ticking time bomb, but right now, the timer is at 0. Ava has never backed down from a fight, and her maternal desperation makes her incredibly dangerous. But Sonny is a man who operates on absolute control and loyalty. When that loyalty is broken, the results are lethal. The shattered trust between them has morphed into a toxic, deadly war, and Avery is the innocent prize caught in the crossfire. Let us break down scenario A for this deadly feud. Ava, blinded by her need to win, pushes Sonny too far. She underestimates his ruthlessness when his family is threatened. In this scenario, Sonny decides that the only way to permanently protect Avery is to permanently eliminate the threat. Ava becomes a tragic casualty of her own hubris, paying for her defiance with her life. It would be a shocking, violent end to a legendary character, cementing Sonny's descent into absolute darkness and leaving a permanent stain on Avery's future. However, we must consider scenario B. Ava is a survivor. She is cunning, manipulative, and always thinking 3 steps ahead. Could it be that Ava realizes she cannot beat Sonny in a traditional war, so she orchestrates her own demise? In this calculated move, Ava might fake her own death, leaving behind perfectly planned evidence that points directly to Sonny as the murderer. This would be her ultimate revenge. She disappears, taking Avery with her in the chaos, while Sonny is locked away for a murder he didn't actually commit. It implies that Ava's death is actually her greatest masterpiece of deception. If you ask me, we are heading into a season of unprecedented loss and shocking twists. The writers are setting up a domino effect of exits that will leave the audience breathless. Will Kai pay the ultimate price for love? Will Nina become a fugitive beholden to a dangerous man? Will Ava's maternal war end in a body bag? I cannot say for certain how the dust will settle, but I can confidently predict that the landscape of our favorite show is about to be violently, permanently altered. Keep your eyes peeled, ladies, because the next few weeks are going to be an absolute roller coaster of psychological warfare and no one is safe.